Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Bill Wyatt again, and I'm going to talk to you a little while this afternoon about pulpotomies, and we do them on deciduous teeth, healthy deciduous teeth, and we use them very often in orthodontics, especially in early and preventive and nterceptive type orthodontics. Of course, you have to use them pretty early, but people lose their deciduous teeth pretty quick. But anyway, using them is a big help in early orthodontic treatment. Now, I'm in the American Orthodontic Society, and I've been in that ever since it was formed. And I'm a general dentist, though, but I've done nothing but orthodontics for about 42 years, and I do a lot of temporomandibular joint work with the orthodontics. It kind of goes with orthodontics. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into this little video. It won't be all that long, I hope, and I tend to talk too much maybe sometimes. But here is the little girl that we've done this on hundreds of kids, and I've done thousands of these pulpotomies and have never had any problem with them. And let's show you what you can do in preventive and nterceptive orthodontics by just allocating the space out to the teeth as they need it, how much they need. Now it's good to have a child, of course, that's free of any kind of problems like tongue thrusting and thumb sucking and mouth breathing and all these problems that kids get into because of so much allergy and just the size of the teeth and everything else. Here, a child or the mother or parents will bring a child in a lot of times when they have a crowded situation like this and want to know is there anything they can do. I mean, these are permanent teeth coming in, and these are the deciduous cuspids, and you've got so much space in between here to get these teeth in place, and your permanent teeth are bigger than the deciduous than the four deciduous teeth that came out of here, and they frequently don't fit in there good. So if you look carefully, there's you can see this permanent left lateral right down in that space right there behind these teeth. It's laying in here somewhere, and a lot of times it'll come up and eat into the cuspid, but when it gets to the enamel, it doesn't eat the enamel away, and so it gets stuck. A lot of times it'll be a third of the way into the deciduous tooth, and then it'll get stuck where it can't come up. And so you need to be able to do something about that. It doesn't matter if you're just doing dentistry and don't intend to do orthodontics or don't want to. This is some of the best orthodontics you can do, though. Now, let's show you some of the things we did here. All right, the other side is somewhat crowded, so what we plan to do here is to reduce the cuspid tooth, and you can taper this off down here about the root somewhere and just do the pulpotomy in the deciduous tooth root. Same thing we'll do on the other side. We do this one first, of course, and then go right over same day and do the two of them. Now here we're going to take this tooth down. Now you do it with a burr. I'm using a long shank carbide burr. I'll show you the number and everything in just a minute. And sometimes you get down in here and you have to ream out the root of this tooth because the permanent tooth is inside there, and you're gonna do that and reduce that so this permanent tooth can come on up in here, and then you have to do this over here so this will slide over to the side. It's amazing what you can do by just guiding and giving out the space as the teeth need it, and it's marvelous. Now a lot of people get afraid of doing these pulpotomies. I've done, I don't know how many pulpotomies over the many years that I've been in this. I learned how to do this from a pediatric dentist from Shreveport, Louisiana. Came up to Fort Worth and showed us how he did these, and he didn't use it too much for nterceptive orthodontics or anything. He just used it to help get teeth in or whatever he wanted to do. And I took that and started doing it, and it worked so well that I kind of perfected it to some extent, and published a paper on it years ago, and showed it in a table clinic and won the state table clinic award, and had to speak on this to the whole dental society the next year on this, doing these pulpotomies and guiding these teeth in. Okay, here let's get on with it. Up above you've got a crowded situation also, and so we'll end up having to take these teeth off too to get this to straighten out in here. And you've got a child that doesn't have any breathing problems or anything else. They function good, breathe through the nose, and the tongue pushes the teeth into their position. The tongue does it. You don't have to put anything in there, see. So you need to learn how to do this. Now this was done years ago before we had to put gloves on, as you'll see this right here. And I did not use and do not use rubber dams when I do this. If you want to put a rubber dam, you probably have to get away from this, because where you cut the tooth you're going to run into the rubber dam probably. Anyway, you can decide on that yourself. Okay, here's the way we're going to do this. Start off now, we'll take this tooth. Now you have to do this with a burr. You cannot do it with a disc. Don't even think of taking a disc and doing it, because this permanent tooth will stick out into that area there. And excuse me, we'll have to cut out some of that. The permanent tooth will erupt up inside the other, the deciduous tooth, and kind of eat away the dentin, but it will not eat the enamel, so it'll get hung down there. And you got a situation, if you leave it alone, then your cuspid comes up closer, and this one does too, and you've got a crowded problem later on in doing this. Okay, now let's go and see. Now we're going to take, at this time we used, this was a long tapered diamond, you see, and it worked good, but I got to where I used a 1171 long carbide burr. And so you can jot this down, or it'll be on the video and you can see it, and that works great. I just got a brand new burr every time I had a patient that we're going to do this. And you do about 8 of these on each patient, that you have to do the first phase and then the second phase, which we'll show you some later on. Now I go through this again. I did an earlier video on it, but I'm really stressing the pulpotomies today. That's all I want to put over is this, show you how to do these pulpotomies. And so here we just go right through the tooth. Now I infiltrate. I just put a little drop or two around and get them numb. And when it gets a little bit numb, then we come in and inject some more anesthetic, and the tooth will get just completely where they feel nothing on it, and then you go in and do this. So here we go down, and you're watching this permanent tooth over here. When we get close to it, we slide the burr out, maybe cut this a little further, and then just pop the rest of this off, and then you can see the permanent tooth in there. And we'll take that and cut around it a little and ream this deciduous tooth out in a kind of a cupped area, and the permanent tooth will slide into that. And now you're going to go over to the other side and give it some room, and the midline tends to correct on them. Just watch what happens. You can just do some fantastic work with this. Now the kid doesn't like it when you're doing it, but I've had a lot of, like this young lady we did this, she was real unhappy and she gave me a dirty look when we were working this, but if I'm not mistaken, she married and moved out of town not too far and brought her own child back into the office to have me to do this for them so she wouldn't have to have braces put on her teeth. Now this is excellent orthodontics. Just putting braces on teeth doesn't make excellent orthodontics. If you can do it without anything except using nature and helping it, then that's much better. Okay. All right, we take that out, and you can cut this out, but you don't even have to. And we'll pop this away, and then we can clean it out good. And let me show you how we fill that canal now. So we took some tissue out, but you don't really have to do that. It'll just move the tissue out of the way. Now don't try to stop the bleeding. Especially don't blow any air on it. You can use a suction all you want to, but you don't really need to do that. Now see, I went down around that permanent tooth and kind of reamed it out into the root of this deciduous cuspid. Now if you would do this instead of extracting this, you think, well, it's a lot easier, we'll just pull it out. Well, when you pull it out, the permanent cuspid then is free to drift forward. If you leave the deciduous root, even if there's just a sliver of it in there, that keeps the cuspid in line back here until it's ready, and this one comes on up in and gets in place, you see. This may be a little confusing. Now, I wrote a good article on that. It's on my website, and you can copy it off if you want to. And it's got some good pictures in there that I just drew on there. All right, now I want to fill the canal. So we take zinc oxide and eugenol. I just put a bunch of dried zinc oxide, just pure, out here, and drop a few drops of eugenol, just very little, and then mix it up until it's in just a paste, and peel it off and put it on some paper where you can blot it out till it is just very little eugenol in there until it gets real stiff. Then I can put it down there and just roll it out like you were rolling dough out somewhere into a thin piece like this. Then you got a spoon about that size, and you cut it off. Just cut your piece off and kind of press on it, and it'll stick this on there, and it'll be, your spoon will be lying here like that, and this stuff will be coming up like that. And it's kind of pointed, and you can shove this point down into that root after you ream the we take that same burr and go like the deciduous cuspid would be coming off like such in here, and you've shaved it off like this, and now you've got this pulp in here that's usually bleeding. Don't worry about it at all. Just take your drill and go right down in this pulp. Go down, way on down in it. And now this continues to bleed. And don't worry about it. Don't try to, sure don't blow in air. Just aspirate it. If you want, you don't even need to aspirate it. It's while it's bleeding. Then you take this point of this material and go down in there. This stuff is so thick, I pack it in there with an amalgam plugger. I mean, pack it in, and it goes way on down in the tooth, and it's hard. It'll set up. You do not need to put any kind of filling on it at all. I will come up and smooth the tooth out up here where it doesn't catch the lip or anything, and just smooth this zinc oxide eugenol off over the top of this, and it can set there for 2 or 3 years. It doesn't normally take that much. And as the permanent tooth erupts up against it, frequently the permanent tooth will crack this off. There'll be little pieces of this zinc oxide and eugenol after it's set up in there, and it'll come out with the rest of the tooth. Now I'm going to go through my son where we did this, and I've got one of the teeth, and I got it, a molar, and show you how the zinc oxide and eugenol just stayed there through the whole process. Okay, let's I'll erase that and go to the next slide. Okay, we've cut it off, and now we stick this onto that spoon, and then you can roll it out again when you need another one and just get a pointer. It's kind of like working on dough or something, but the stuff is real firm, and you can pack it, and that's what we do here. All right, here is the tooth now, and it's full of blood. Don't get upset over that. You just let it go ahead and bleed out. And now we're going to shove this down in there. I mean, and get out as far as we can go with this. Then I'll take an amalgam plugger and plug it. And this stuff is so thick, it's thicker than putty. And you press it down, it stops the bleeding, everything. And you won't have any trouble. I've done this on thousands of teeth, and I have never had one of them blow up. Now that's a fact. I had a patient, a dentist, referred one, and I told him to do it, and he decided he didn't want to do it, so he got an old surgeon to do it, who was an old surgeon and an MD, and he did not know how to do this. He just smeared some old soft stuff down in there. It didn't seal it good, and the ones did blow up on him. He had a problem with it, but it still worked. So anyway, that's the only one that I know of anything not working on one of those. No rubber dam, nothing else. You just pack it in there, and you really don't need anything but zinc oxide and eugenol. Now, I spoke on this up in Boston one time at Dr. Carapese's office, and had professors from the pediatric department from 3 different universities around there, and they had to mix this with something else, and you put all stuff. You don't need anything but the eugenol and the pure zinc oxide and eugenol. Mix it up, pat it out till it's thick, roll it out, pack it in there. and I've never had any trouble with one, and I've done thousands of them. So you just have to take my word from it. I don't have any double-blind studies to tell you about it. Now I do take it and smooth the thing off up here, and we'll smooth this, and that little piece of tooth will keep this cuspid in line, and then now this is going to go back in this direction right there. Now I'm going to do the other side immediately after that. See, I'll go over there and do it, and now this whole thing will drift to the center, and this will line up like that. And you'd think it won't move to the center, but if you've got a kid that's breathing right, swallowing right, doing all the good things, it will actually do that. So now we do that side. We don't touch the permanent tooth now with that, and we pack it, smooth it off. There's an amalgam plugger. I mean, put it down in there like you mean business with it. I mean, it's gonna seal that thing off. That stuff is thick and heavy. You can pack it almost like amalgam, and we do that. So anyway, let's go on. Now that's what I wanted to stress. This is the way you do the pulpotomies. Now this tooth moved in there. See, if this is a few weeks or a month or so later, and it's lined up the midline, it's still off a good bit. So we're going to do the top ones, and then watch this move. Now the kid's swallowing, his tongue's coming up against, or her tongue's coming up against this, and the lips are closed here during the swallow, and that guides these teeth into place. And the torque on these teeth is absolutely what it ought to be for that particular person. And you don't have to go with somebody's cephalometric analysis and he tells you, well, you ought to put them, especially tweeds. Let the body, the pressure on the tongue and the pressure on the lips and the swallowing and everything puts the teeth where that body wants them to be. And so that's okay. If the teeth, you just give them what space they have to have. That's all. See. All right. We go ahead here, and I'm going to do a second phase of this. All right. We've done the first 4 teeth here, and the second part of this, we trim the deciduous second molar, and this tooth comes out and the cuspid comes in right here. Now this is just one use for these pulpotomies. There are a lot of other things that you need to reduce the deciduous tooth. Like if you got plenty of space in here and these teeth are crowded, and this tooth has come out or something, or you can extract these and trim this, and now you've got room enough for the bicuspid back here to come in, and you'll have room enough for the cuspid to come in here, and you'll have room enough for your second bicuspid to come in underneath there. So we use them lots of different ways, just allocating the space that the tooth needs, and you can see all this with your panorex. You can see how much room you got, and then you go up and trim it off like that. And we use deciduous teeth in all sorts of ways. And if you want to bracket them and use them, go ahead and do it. It's good, and keep that permanent tooth in place and everything. So anyway, here we are. Now the lower 4 are lining up pretty good, and the upper 4 are getting in place. Now, do you think that would line up like it is if you didn't help them some? It might get better. I don't know exactly how it would be, but we know we can give them the space they need, and if they're functioning correctly, this will line up teeth that you wouldn't even think that it would. And this is a good thing to do, but it hasn't gone over the 40 years that I've been doing it. More than that. I've been doing this for probably close to 50 years, and I published a paper on it about 42 years ago, and people get it and everything, but they are just reluctant to go in there and do it. Now the orthodontists don't like to do it. You know, they don't use the regular orthodontist. They don't like to deaden and do the surgery and all that kind of stuff. The pediatric dentists, there's a good many of them that are doing it. And this is an orthodontic procedure that you have to start early, and you don't see them, you just see them from time to time, and go ahead and allocate this space out when they need it. And it just works wonderfully well. If you can straighten teeth without putting anything on them, my gosh, that's the best orthodontics you can do. You don't have to stick a bunch of brackets and stuff on teeth to be able to charge them for straightening their teeth. You can do this procedure and make a charge for it. Tell them what it is. They'll be tickled to death with it, you know. The mothers will. Because that's been my experience. All right. Here we've done that. Now the lower ones, that just goes back to show you right after we did it what they look like. This slides out kind of out of place. Now there I showed that to show where it moved to. See, it moved over and kind of closed this space up. See, this was back over like that. So they have moved in this direction, and they'll move further, and we've got enough. Now if you needed to take a little more off, these teeth, you can grind on them, take them anything. They don't need any deadening at all. Now I've had people that are kind of chicken, and they want to just trim a little bit, and they'll get right close. They can see the nerve, and they stop, you know. Well, those teeth give you all kind of trouble. It's sensitive and hurts. These don't ever give you any trouble. They'll come out, and if you want to grind on them a little more, or reduce them a little more, you can go in there and do it. All right, this is maybe a little later. I'm not keeping up with the time. It is good to trim these off, though, and kind of smooth them up where they don't cut the lip or something. Now this is lining up better. The upper's getting in there, the bottom is doing good. We're going to flip through this pretty quick. My primary thing was telling you about the pulpotomies now in this rather than the whole thing. Now, see this cuspid sticking out here? You want it over here. All right, so this tooth is almost ready to come out, so you can just take it out. The bicuspid is already up in underneath it here, and then we'll come back and see how much on the panorex, how much we need for the second bicuspid to come in over here, you know. And so we'll trim this tooth off. Same thing over here. We'll take this out. And what we're interested in is getting the cuspid tooth and the first bicuspid in here, and the cuspid will fit in this area. And you watch it do that. This tooth, the tongue will move it into place. The lip will catch it here. Just watch it move those cuspids. I don't put one thing in the world, I mean nothing on it, except you've got a properly functioning child that you're working on, and we'll put that on them. Now here we go. We take out the deciduous first molar. The first bicuspid is right underneath here. It's just, you can almost see it through there. Now I trim this down and then leave the mesial root but kind of cut it off at an angle. This tooth will come up and set in like this. It'll move into that space. Then the cusp will come right in here, and it comes in from the side like that. Okay, there we've trimmed that off, and let me pause this for a minute, and okay, we're back in business again, except I need to get my little red arrow if I can find it down here somewhere. Oh, there it is. All right. Sorry for the interference there, but I'll weed out. I'll edit that out. All right, we trim that tooth off in front, and now the space is off, and we've got plenty of room now for the second bicuspid to erupt in here. And I even, when I trim that off frequently, I'll run into the nerve here. Then I take a long shank round burr and go in and work on both horns of that pulp. Let me get back here and got that off. And then we'll go in, see, and just open that and go in with this burr and kind of cup it down in the first root and go over and go down in the other root just a little bit, and it'll bleed and it'll look, it bothers some people. It doesn't bother me at all. And you leave the blood in there now and mix your zinc oxide and eugenol, make it thick as all get out. And now we're going to come in, and I'm going to shove that zinc oxide and eugenol up, and then take a amalgam plugger and go in there and run it down the horns of both roots. And you don't need a thing else on it. You don't have to crown it. You don't have to put a filling over this and do a bunch of junk that doesn't need to be. Just smooth the zinc oxide and eugenol, and it'll be there. If that tooth sits there 3 years. I'll show you one I'm going to do my son later, and I saved one of his teeth, came out, and I got it, and I'll show you what happens in there. The zinc oxide and eugenol will stay with you. It gets hard, and it won't absorb at all. And we whack that off. Now we're going to come in. The little girl's kind of, you can read in her eyes what she's thinking about you. You sorry rascal. But this one brought her own child back for me to do her several years later. She grew up, married, had a child, and brought it back in and wanted me to do it. Now, look where the midline is gone to. Look where this is lined up. This has never been touched with a brace one of any kind. It functioned right. It was in good shape, and so it is really worked out good. Now the second phase we'll go through. I'm going to run through it quite quick. What I was interested in is showing you how to do the pulpotomy, and you put them on. I never put pulpotomy. I never do it on a abscess tooth. You will. I mean, you just can't hardly get them to where it'll work. That just doesn't go. But on a healthy deciduous tooth, you can just trim that tooth all the way you want. You can cut it half into it, pull half of it out, and do the other half you're leaving in, and it'll stay there and go right through the process. And so here we are. Now let's look at the rest of it here. And this is coming around. This will straighten up some more, because the lip will press it here and the tongue here, and you may not come out with it exactly perfect, but it will be pretty doggone good just guiding the teeth in. All right, there's the look how this cuspid, you remember it was out here, it's in here now, and this tooth came in and the crown just dropped back as I did that deciduous molar. You know, their roots come out like this, you know, like that, and I trim this off down this way. The tooth ate this off, and the tooth will come up here, and then it'll slide back, so the bicuspid ends up in kind of like that, you see, and the root of the bicuspid is here, and then this will come out, and the permanent second bicuspid will be in this area right here and come up. And I didn't save enough room for this on my drawing, but that's the way it works. So anyway, I'm going to run through now. Look at that. Now, I did not push this tooth over with anything. I didn't stop it with anything. The lip stops it. The tongue shoves it in there. Now, and if it's a flat tooth, it'll rotate it, but a round tooth, it can't. There's no force there much to rotate a round tooth. All right, the cuspids coming down, you have some problems sometime with them. But it'll push it in. If you've got plenty of space here, it'll come line up. I'll show you on my son later. I don't think I have a picture on this bunch. All right, there's the upper teeth, the way we did the upper, and that's the lower lined up like that, and the upper comes in, and I think this is about the end of it. And she kind of forgives you later on down in life. And of course, she's a beautiful young lady. She gets married and brings her own child in later to do that. So here's her picture there. And I hope you'll learn how to do these pulpotomies, not just for this, but a lot of other things you can do with them. So I'm gonna hang it up, and I hope you get something from this, and try it. Don't be afraid to go in and do these pulpotomies. Just infiltrate the teeth, and you can do this. So I'm gonna hush and let go, and we'll stop this.